Right, hello. So I'm on. Hopefully we get some people on as usual. I'll stream for maybe just under an hour today. I'm hoping the internet's all right today because, like I was saying the last time I did a stream, I've had a lot of days recently where my internet's been either going really slow for periods of time or crashing out or whatever. And although early on this morning I had a period where my internet went down, I have been able to play like online games for a bit today without them crashing out, which isn't normally the case when the internet's playing up. So we'll see if this works. If I do pop out chat, I can then put the pop out chat on a pure white screen for a bit of a better lighting thing. Right, there we go. And then if I get the pop out chat out, and then hopefully if people get notification on, I'm on. So I've been just working, as I said, the weekend recently, and I'm working again tomorrow. So at the moment, I've not had time to film much other stuff, still with YouTube. But at the end of the week, I probably have a bit more time to do some videos, sort of, Wednesday to Friday sort of time. So anyway, like I said, hopefully some people come on. Now and again, when I do a stream, YouTube doesn't notify anybody, which is really handy. It says 3 people are on now and 2 likes. So thank you for liking the stream. And hopefully that means if people have got that, it is going live. But like I said, sometimes I can do a stream and like people an hour later say, oh, I got the notification for like a 5 p.m. stream at like 8 p.m., which obviously doesn't help anybody. So yeah, obviously we can chat about whatever. Hopefully not too much stuff to do with politics unless it's kind of related to the channel. I am seeing some like little emoji faces appear, so although I haven't seen any comments yet. So anyway, I'm just gonna have a look on my phone while this is like this for anything to do with on the news. That might be relevant. Again, where people have asked me about the Charlie Kirk funeral stuff, I haven't watched any of that, so no point asking me questions regarding that because I don't know anything to do with it. Other than the fact that apparently his widow said something like she wants to forgive the killer, and Trump's like, I don't want to forgive any of them. More stuff to do with Epstein in the news as well. With people being friends with him and then claiming they weren't friends with him, and then it's come out they were friends with him. That seems to happen a lot, doesn't it, with rich and famous people? Yeah, hopefully we get some people on, because like I said, at the moment, nobody's on. We'll have a look at the Telegraph as well for news. Oh, all right, Firebird. No, I hadn't heard that at all. I mean, I'm at work tomorrow, so it might as well end tomorrow. What's the conspiracy for the world ending tomorrow? But as far as I'm aware, I'm having to go into work tomorrow, so for me that takes priority because it's a thing in my actual life. Now, apparently, there's some riots going on in Italy to do with Palestine. Oh, this sounds interesting. Let's see if it does anything or if it's a load of bollocks. Drug hailed as answer to autism could improve social skills. Donald Trump, and again, I want to say to YouTube, I'm just reading this off the news. I'm not giving any medical advice here, especially because it's RFK Jr. Describe leucovorin or something as a breakthrough despite limited evidence. The drug Donald Trump has claimed is the answer to autism, can improve the social and communication skills of children with the condition, according to early studies. Leucovorin is proponents have certainly argued is a cheap, safe, and potentially revolutionary medication. There is only limited evidence on how effective the medication really is, and no major long-term studies. Blah 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 blah. Syria, well, as in the new Syrian government, and I assume you mean Syria with a Y. Oh, a bit like the 2012 prophecy and all the others. Yeah, I won't put much faith in those. So apparently, Mr. Trump told the crowd at a memorial for Charlie Kirk on Sunday, tomorrow we're going to have one of the biggest announcements medically, I think, in the history of our country. I think you're going to find it to be amazing. I think we found an answer to autism. So apparently it's also known as folinic acid, which I think I've heard of before. It's administered to cancer patients to alleviate some side effects of harsh chemotherapy drugs. It is approved for the US and UK as a cancer medication, but not for any other use. Well, yeah, well, I suppose they can give it me and I can tell people if I become any socially better off. I mean, you can also tend to give autistic people a bit of alcohol or whatever, and they tend to be a bit more talkative that way. So I don't know if if anything just lowers your inhibitions, it sort of deals with some autism. They can cure Elon. Yeah. Unless this is going to turn into something really dark of, we've got these special bullets for the autistic people. That'll fix them. Put them in the back of their head. So yeah. So I'll look at that with bated breath. But again, even with other conditions I've got, there's often things that are announced as like miracle cures or miracle drugs for them that either don't do much better than other condition, drugs do, and then it ends up being a case of they're too expensive to get on, even private and like the NHS because of the price of them. It's magic medicine, Ohio uncle. Magic medicine. But yeah, so that's the only thing I've seen in the news just now that is kind of interesting, I guess. That's not. There's a typhoon hitting the Philippines, sparking evacuations and airport shutdowns. Cyclists who run red light will face tougher penalties. Good, because cyclists who are on the road should follow the same rules as cars and not be allowed to basically be like, oh, I can run red lights and do whatever. More than 1 million taxpayers will be £285 a year worse off if Rachel Reeves extends a freeze on income tax thresholds. Oh yeah, stealth taxes the government's doing again. Pretty horrible story here. 2-year-old girl, had something very horrible done to her and then killed by man and woman. So these people should be put in a fucking wood chipper. So was it their kid or somebody else's? I still don't understand how the people had control over the kid, though. Was it like his ex-wife or something? Well, wood chippers for them, I think, is a good policy. Nonces really need to be fucking. Well, I'm going to probably end up in trouble now for saying shot or whatever else. But yeah, if there are people that literally do that and kill a 2-year-old kid, they've got no existence breathing, in my opinion. But yeah, should we have some lighter news potentially? So yeah, people want to bring up anything, just bring it up, really. But yeah, I can't see much else on here of interest. This is all. There's 12 people on there. Again, I'm just going back to the white screen with the pop-out text for while I'm talking, just because it lights the room up a bit better. All right, Rajiv. I'm off work today, then I'm back in work tomorrow. My internet's not been too bad today, Rajiv, but annoyingly, it's still been the last few days in a row. It's still been pretty awful, as in, just things lagging out non-stop when I've been trying to do games or whatever. But today, I think, I can't remember if it was last night or this morning, but at one point in the last day or so, it did crash out for quite a while. Was that this morning or was that last night? Again, I can't remember, but today it's been fairly good since the afternoon. Or is it lagging for you at the moment, Rajiv, or you just mean what I was sort of saying? But yeah, I don't think my internet's currently doing anything like downloading. Because again, that's the problem been recently, is I keep thinking, oh, something must be downloading on my, line or whatever. All right, yeah, cool. But yeah, because it's basically, to me, it's almost like if you're using the internet and then somebody starts using up all the bandwidth, you know, like downloading or streaming something or uploading or whatever. It's sort of like that, but I can check and nobody else in the house is doing anything with the internet. But somebody else I was speaking to recently who doesn't live too far away from me has been having the exact same issue with their internet. So it's probably more like an exchange problem and whatever else. Yeah. Could do with a coffee now, I think, in all honesty. I haven't actually had much caffeine at all today. I had a coffee when I first got up this morning. All right, see you in a bit, Rajiv. I played a game that was pretty fun today. It's early access and doesn't have all the levels in it yet, but it was quite fun. It's called Pigface, and it's kind of like a first-person version of Manhunt / Hotline Miami, where you wear these like animal masks or whatever. You wear these masks, and you go around these grimy, horrible areas, like beating people to death with melee weapons and shooting them for like some weird people that are giving you contracts. So it was only 4 days ago it came out in early access. Well, like I said, obviously I'm sure there were a lot of innocent people that got killed during all that, but again, it was because of corruption and all that sort of stuff, wasn't it? So that's good. But they have to then get a good government to replace the bad government, because the problem lots of countries have is they have a bad government that gets overthrown, and then one just as bad or sometimes worse replaces them. So hopefully for the people that live in Nepal, they get a good government, but I don't know. Like all these sort of things that I don't really know enough about it, that you have to just hope that the people appointed aren't really corrupt and horrible, or don't become corrupted because they think, oh, look at all these freebies I can get now while I'm doing this job. Because again, in the UK politics, we have the exact same issue, that every time somebody's in opposition, they talk about how they're going to clamp down on lots of government freebies and all these sort of things. And then as soon as they get in, they're milking those systems for all the money they can get out of them. Yeah, just wondering about what to talk about at the moment. Yeah, nothing coming up on my notifications that's any importance. I'm just trying to think of some other news sites I could look at to see if there's anything interesting in the news. Oh, we will do battle. Nigel Farage sends Sadiq Khan warning as row erupts over migration plan. So, Sadiq Khan, who we were bringing up in the other streams, appeared in the news again. Poland vows to shoot down Russian aircraft. Okay, does this mean if they violate Poland's airspace, they're just going to shoot them down? Now, maybe if Poland says they're going to shoot down, you know, what I was going to say, Russian jets and that, Putin can be dumb enough and test it out. All right, Peter, you just said question mark. What about BBC News? I said I had a look at BBC News earlier when we were looking at headlines, but it was mostly about Epstein and stuff to do with Palestine on BBC News. That Epstein guy, Jeffrey Epstein, was it? But yeah, there's not much on BBC News at the moment that hasn't been on the news for the last few days. So like I said, that's why I was just looking on some of the other news website in case there was stuff that had slipped through. Oh, Labour councillor brands flag raisers as criminals, extremists, and nonces. Oh my God. So a Labour councillor has described Operation Raise the Colours as an attempt by a bunch of criminals, extremists, and nonces to hijack our national flag. Hertsmere Borough Council leader, Labour leader Jeremy Newmark made the comments at a council meeting on Wednesday last week, prompting gasps from other councillors. So yeah, apparently you like to diddle kids if you like the English flag now, according to the lovely people that rule over us. Close to the truth, yeah. I saw a little bit about that because I haven't looked at most of the Kirk stuff, but yeah, they probably want to be like Trump. Probably doesn't want Musk saying stuff about him, does he? And Musk probably wants to get government contracts and whatever. Is there exclusively a Florida Man website? I don't know. Let's have a Google. Florida Man. I mean, you can just do Florida Man on Fox 35 Orlando, apparently. So if you go to this look, everything on here is Florida Man. Naked Florida Man hides in tanning bed after trying to set gym on fire at closing time. Florida Man dubbed nail bandit accused of sabotaging fire rescue vehicles with sharp objects. Florida Man clings to back of moving UPS truck to avoid deputies after Lowe's shoplifting attempt. Florida Man posed as flight attendant to score dozens of free flights. Florida Man arrested after drug bust uncovered dogfighting operation and 9-foot alligator. Florida Man caught stalking ex amidst watching her sleep for months, deputies. Baby alligator stolen from Florida business. Florida Man shoots neighbor's pregnant cow after it wandered onto his property. Naked Florida Man caught trying to break into woman's house, deputies say birthday suit bandit. And it goes on and on and on. And some of those are only, a couple of months old. I mean, as in people who eat meat normally don't eat human babies. They normally eat animal babies. Well, not normally babies, normally just quite young animals. Because they are soft and tender. But, yeah, but like I said, I haven't been following a lot of the politics stuff recently. The most stuff I've been interested in is all of Russia violating the NATO airspace thing 3 times, First with the drones over Poland, then the drones over Romania, and then was it Latvia or Lithuania? I can't remember. Or was it Estonia? I was thinking it was actually Estonia, wasn't it, with the MiG-31s, the 3 MiG-31s towards Tallinn. But yeah, so Russia keeps trying to... Yeah, Estonia, as Visa said. So yeah. ERDL, I don't know. Let me search that rotwork because I don't know what that is. Is that a camo pattern? No, I don't have any ERDL if you're on about the camo. I've got some US woodland somewhere and obviously loads of British 95 DPM, but I don't have any... Yeah, I don't have any of that. I don't think it was experimental, was it? I thought it was used quite a lot in Vietnam, and I thought a lot of US allies used it. Like at the same time, the US used M81 Woodland. I thought, like Taiwan, for example, used ERDL. But yeah, I've never seen it for sale in the UK. Again, it's probably one of those camos you can pay a lot of money for, or get a reproduction of, but I've got neither. Not any genuine stuff. I don't have that many US camos. I do have, and I don't think I've done videos on some UCP and the thing that's similar to UCP that the Air Force used, which is like very similar colors but a different pattern. But yeah, in general, US stuff doesn't turn up in the UK all that often, I guess, because of ITAR and whatever else. Is that an actual breaking news one, stalk of an oil lantern, or just your typical Florida man style news? There was a video that a lot of people are bringing up in the UK, though, of two female officers that kind of force entry into somebody's house without permission, even though they don't have a warrant. That's kind of gone a bit viral. If you've seen that video, where apparently it's about somebody who their teenage daughter looked up a social media post or something, didn't share extremist material, looked at something online. So yeah, that's all right, Rajiv. Yeah, so we don't know all the details of that because there are bits of video cut out, but some of the people saying it might be the person who uploaded it cut those bits out the video because they didn't want what you call it, like bits their address being read out. Is it breezy again, Rajiv? It was quite windy one of the days recently, but not the other one. I can't remember if it was Saturday it was really windy, but not Sunday. But I remember there was one of the days where when I had the window open, all the doors in the house were vibrating, where just the air pressure and the wind kept, obviously going through an open window, which caused all the doors that were closed to hit the frames. Let me just have a look. If I get my CCTV up, I can normally see how windy it looks across the road. Because obviously when it's windy, what normally happens is the trees obviously across the road, you can see them sort of bending over quite a lot. So that's normally my way of wind TV. Is that a real thing? But if I go live, because again, when you get a snapshot, the big fir tree opposite my house isn't moving very much. So yeah, I assume it's probably not very windy where I am today, but like I said, some of the days recently. Although saying that, on the other security camera, that same tree from a different angle, let me just have a look. Nah, I don't think it is that windy. I think it's a case of where I am. I think that's just a case of the angle of the camera making the tree look a bit bent. Yeah, I'll get a weather thing up, Rajiv, and have a look. It's meant to be quite wet today, although I don't think it started raining where I am yet, unless that was just because it hadn't refreshed the thing. So, yeah, where I am, wind speeds are like max 6 miles per hour, so that's not very fast. Tomorrow up to 9 miles per hour, up to 11 actually at times when I'll be at work. So that could be good or bad, depending what I'm having to do at work. But no rain, luckily, tomorrow at all where I am. So that should mean that if I have to go out and take loads of rubbish up to the tip where I work and that, I won't get soaked. Because some days, you can be trying to take rubbish up and it's absolutely pissing down. I thought the official end of summer was the 1st of October, wasn't it? Or does it depend if you do the meteorological calendar or whichever one? Because I know the equinox was one of the days recently, wasn't it? Oh, you're right. Monday, the 22nd of September in the Northern Hemisphere is officially one. But yeah, I normally do meteorological one or whatever it is, where like every month Because I think you get two calendars, don't you? You get like the one where it's the very specific days, and then the ones where they just round it to the sort of month. Let's have a look. So, first day of autumn. So yeah, 21st of September officially, but that's on the astronomical calendar because of the equinox. But yeah, there's an astronomical, a meteorological one, and a solar season, which are all different. So the meteorological season is the 1st of September to the last of November. So we've already been in autumn for 22 days, according to the meteorological one. And then winter obviously starts on the 1st of December till the end of February, I'd guess. Let's have a look, just double check that. Meteorological one, 1st of December to the 28th, 29th of February. Yeah, I normally just go off the meteorological one because it's easier, just because of the fact that obviously every thing is like right at the end of a month or whatever. Yeah, I'm getting a takeaway tonight, Rajiv, because where I was really busy at work the last 2 days, I was tempted to get a takeaway each day after work. But when I got home yesterday, even though I was hungry, as soon as I sat down on that, I just felt too tired to actually want to order one and wait up for it, you know. So I had one of those evenings where I just nearly fell asleep in a chair, had like a shower and that, and then went to bed because of how tired I was from work, rather than you know, like getting one last night. Yeah, I can't afford a takeaway every day, sadly. Yeah, I just mostly want to get a load of protein as well, because that's the nice thing where if you get stuff with a load of meat in it, or like normally I get lamb stuff rather than chicken. You're right, Saint. What have I been on for? About 30 minutes so far, 27 minutes. I'll be on a bit longer, but I won't necessarily go right to the end of the hour. Are those real ones, though, hi Uncle, or are you making them up again? Because again, it's hard to know, because the Florida man stories are so ridiculous. Well, that is a real one. So that's a real one, is it? Florida man assaults mom with spaghetti sauce, hides in the bushes from police. Yeah, Fox 13, Tampa Bay. And it's in St. Petersburg, but St. Petersburg in Florida, not in Russia. A Florida man was taken to jail after he threw spaghetti sauce at at his own mother during an argument at their home over the weekend. Anthony Fiacco or something, 41, was arrested on charges of battery and resisting an officer without violence. Threw the spaghetti at her. Well, it is technically theft. Even if you shouldn't have them in the first place, it is technically theft if somebody steals something from you, even if you don't legally own it. I suppose. That is still theft. Don't know. Actually, that's quite a interesting one, isn't it? Yeah, I was just seeing if there was anything else on the news. But yeah, and after having a really busy news week a week or two ago, where there was like something big in the news every day, this week's been a bit slower for news. But yeah, so apparently that's a nonce flag according to Labour now. even though I think there's more friends of nonces in the Labour Party. And I'm just saying this is a general thing, like lots of political parties, and there probably are amongst the general population. No, not planning on learning a new language. Well, I'm not going to play Battlefield 6 as the answer to that, Saint. I mean, obviously, like I said, I fixed my BIOS and all that, thankfully. But I'm not fucking doing that again for the sake of playing a game that apparently is still full of cheaters, even though all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to do Geolingo, Rajiv, for the Gen Alpha things. The Phantom Tax and the Ohio, whatever it is, and the Rizzler. So, yeah, Walmart has drones now. Begun the drone wars has. Isn't Geolingo the one, though, that's meant to have gone really downhill in recent years? Like, where they kept changing how it worked? Yeah, Saint, that's the reason I don't like French, is because they have feminine and masculine words, where for a normal language you just have yeah, exactly, you just have it's an object, you know, and this is a feminine thing and this is a masculine thing. It's like, no, it's a fucking boat or whatever. It's not a man or a woman, it's a boat. They are using the AI to replace the staff at Duolingo, and the AI is probably not quality checking stuff, I imagine. Yeah, now we have gender words, exactly, Rajiv. So it's infiltrating our language. Yeah, French is basically like a je m'appelle Liam something or other. Très bien. What's the important French thing to ask French women? It's voulez-vous coucher avec moi or something like that, isn't it? Will you sleep with me or whatever the word is? But that's obviously the important thing you have to learn if you go to France. Just say that to everybody. I'm sure it won't go wrong. Is every other word sucre and bliat on the Russian course? Yeah, we live in crazy times where yeah. I'm pretty tired already. I think that's just though because today I've not had much caffeine and I've been working really hard the last couple of days, so my body just wants to rest today. Like I said, at least the internet's been somewhat working today. And not most of Africa, but the British Empire also used to own most of Africa. All right, hopefully that's not too loud and annoying. I'm just putting the aircon on because what was I going to say? The problem in this room is if you don't have the aircon on for too long, the computer heat keeps heating the room up a lot, and then the heat gets trapped. Yeah, Sturmgeschütz, Sturs Kampfflugzeug, Obergruppenführer. Yeah, Germany has lots of long words. Yeah, although German is easier in the sense it's very similar to English. Das ist nicht good. Das is not good. Sturmpanzerkampfwagen. Yeah. Portuguese is only Brazil though. Most of South America is Spanish. If I remember right. But yeah, I did a lot better, even I didn't do well at either of them, at German in school compared to French, because at least German is just kind of like different words, but the sentence structure is basically the same, unlike French, which is asked backwards, as I'd call it. And like we were saying, the feminine and masculine stuff, rather than it just being a case of das ist das, you know, was ist das? Guten Morgen, mein Herr. Sie geht's? Yeah, German is, even if I can't really speak it very well, I could at least when I was in Germany and that, you can understand bits of what people are saying and break down like signs, because enough of the words, if you remember what they translate into English, you're kind of just translating random words in a sentence. Ja, das ist gut. You know, learning Chinese for most of everything now, I'd say, Stalker of an Oil Lantern. Is it Mandarin or is it one of the other ones, the modern Chinese one? But yeah, in terms of the fact that China is going to run everything pretty soon, or run a lot of stuff. So yeah. Yeah, exactly, Rajiv. That's my point. It seems out of one of the foreign languages, Chinese makes more sense now than a lot of the, you know, like older languages that literally apply to one country. Yeah, and Dutch is the funny one, Saint, because Dutch is like halfway between English and German, to the point it looks like somebody's taking the piss out of both of them. Oh no, the train is stucky wookie. I'd have thought that Indian would be like one of the Hindi languages, would have been like the most spoken language on the internet, just because of how many Indians use the internet. Yeah, let me get the train is stucky wucky thing up. Oopsie whoopsie, the train is stucky wucky. We sin hen hull hard and to work on it to make Miss Candy better fweesten oo. Yeah, oopsie whoopsie, the train is stucky wucky. Yeah, I'm sure I'll get arrested for that, Rajiv, if I'll say it anyway, but wood ding ding 299. Yeah, I'm sure that will be something that will put me on the hate crime list now, which I'm probably already on. The weird thing with Hindi is there's some Indian films where they've like dubbed an English film into like whichever the equivalent one is. I think it is Hindi, because obviously a lot of it does come from English, I guess, because of colonization. It's weird because you're fucking listening to it and then you'll randomly hear a load of stuff where it basically is English. It's a bit like Dutch. So you're basically listening to it like, is this somebody with a really thick accent trying to speak English? And it's not. But yeah, like there was a film I started watching. I didn't realize it was the Hindi dub because it was set in India anyway. And because I was, you know, like enough of it made sense in English, I was trying really hard to just work out if somebody had a really thick, hard to understand accent, or like they weren't talking in English. It was kind of weird like that. Yeah, Sanskrit sounds really cool. Again, I think they used that, didn't they, in the Matrix, the last Matrix film, for like the final battle bit. Rather than it being Latin, it's actually Sanskrit, the sort of vocals in the background. But yeah, like I said, the funny thing with Hindi was when I was watching one of these Indian films and it was in Hindi, I didn't actually realize that to start with. Because like I said, it sounded close enough to English. You know, like I was listening like, am I just really struggling with this guy's accent, or is he not speaking English? Because you'd keep hearing enough real English words just thrown into like random sentences. I was like, no, he must be speaking English, surely. It's a bit like BBC Pidgin, I guess, which I still annoys me as a real thing. 10 times bigger than the Iliad and the Odyssey. Right, let me have a look up, though, saying that if BBC Pidgin still exists. When oh, the last thing on there's an hour ago. So, who be the two African we no want a Palestinian state? After UK, Canada, and Australia recent recognition of a Palestine state, more countries they expect to follow. But how African countries they reason Palestine? Most countries on the continent been recognized Palestine for the 1980s after Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat declared independence for Algiers. Leaders like Thomas Sankara and Nelson Mandela been even linked Palestinian struggle to African liberation fights. However, two countries, Cameroon and Eritrea, no follow for the recognition. We look the reasons behind this decision, or their decision. Yep. I don't understand why Pidgin is a thing. Why don't they just I don't know if I've ever seen that at all, Rajiv, so I don't know. What else is on BBC Pigeon? Is there anything about Jeffrey Epstein on BBC Pigeon? Oh, let's read out the Charlie Kirk stuff in BBC Pigeon. US President Donald Trump don't talk for the memorial service for Charlie Kirk, way to the conservative activists way them shoot kill earlier this month. Trump hail him say he be the giant of his generation, and talk say American a nation where they in shock there they mourn, while Vice President J.D. Vance talk say he changed the course of history. Tens of thousands of people been gather for State Farm Stadium for Glendale, Arizona to do remembrance for Kirk. Kirk widow Erica, as she they cry, tell the crowd, say she forgive the man way Kapia, her husband. Auditins way up for the event now the first appearance of Trump and Elon Musk together since them fight for outside earlier this year and them shake each other. But even in the midst of people were to hail Kirk, Trump and some other speakers for the event still took the crowd from behind on glass wall. There you go. BBC Pigeon, everybody. With Die Hard, I specifically like the hit them again line Alan Rickman says in relation to Ukraine blowing up the Russian oil refineries. Hit it again. Yeah, we were on about that earlier, Saint. Viewed a post online, and then the woman goes through the door, doesn't she? Even though they don't have a warrant. Black Belt Barrister's done a video on it, and some other legal channels have covered it, where they're saying again there could be bits clipped out of the video that don't give us some of the info we need, but it does seem very dodgy. Somewhere in the UK, Rajiv, there's two female cops, a Muslim one and one with blonde hair, and they're on about a social media thing and that they don't want to be filmed, even though it's your right to film the police anyway, but they don't want the woman filming her anyway. It's all a bit dodgy, because apparently the girl looked at something online. Not she shared something or downloaded something or whatever, looked at something online. Not Birmingham. I can't remember if I've seen the full video or just little clips of it though. That's the problem, Saint. But yeah, this country is becoming more and more of a nightmare by every day, I think. He's all about the Birmingham accent. Birmingham. Yeah, anyway, I won't be on too much longer because, like I said, I do want to order a curry in a minute. Tell you what, I'll start while we're on the chat. I'll see if I can get some the local Indian restaurant up, and I'll see if I can start putting my order through. I wonder if I can just order the exact same thing I had last time, because that was pretty good, do a repeat order. Those alarms, I know we used to have those and annoy each other with them, Rajiv. I don't know if they ever got used for the real purpose, but where somebody would pull it out like a grenade and throw the pin away so it would keep making noise and the teacher would have to look for them, that sort of thing. Can I look up what my last order was? Because I can't remember if I had 2 masalas last time or 1 masala. It says order again, but I want to know what I ordered exactly last time, not the things I've ordered from this one takeaway before. Oh well. Lamb. Yep. Not for my trainers. I used to have these old trainers, Rajiv, that had like a battery in, that when you walked, there'd be like a little light that would go along the bottom of the trainer. And I remember one year I went to some caves and they were really good because I can't remember if it was Cheddar Gorge or one of those sort of caves, but they were like quite a dim bit and my parents could see where I was walking along in the dark because, you know, like the little lights that went around like the bottom of your shoes every time you took a step, it activated the thing. Right, let me put my order through. Actually, there's a thing I think they do at this takeaway that's quite nice. It's on the chutney and pickle thing, isn't it? Yeah, then the onion one. Yeah, last ordered on the 3rd of July 2024, so quite a while ago. That's cool. Stalker with an oil lantern. One of my videos did really well recently. Let's have a look. So, just putting that through. It was the one I did on the bar mace, because there's one bar mace video is doing stupidly well. But yeah, so if I get up my studio stuff. So, yeah, I've got a video on the bar mace that is doing really well. That's the one on the European bar mace, and I'll just see if I can get the stats up for the main video. So that in the last 28 days has got 623k views for some reason, sorry, because I don't know why, but YouTube is deciding yeah, Oliver, nearly every takeaway now, if you order for two, is about £50. It's really annoying. The one I've ordered just now is about £50, but that's for me over the course of 2 or 3 days. I order like, 2 to 3 people's worth of food, and then I partition it out into like a couple of days worth of food, and then put them in like things in the fridge, and then reheat it the next day. So yeah, I'm partitioning my Indian, which the British government did a long time ago, and it didn't end so well. So I suppose one of them can be India, the other can be Pakistan, and then one, if I leave enough for another day, that can become Bangladesh. The partitioning of my Indian food, but yeah. The European bar mace video I did the other day, that's got 8.2 times more views than my other shorts. Because it's got about 18k views in the first few days. Well, fuck, cutting your food into multiple days. I can't eat it all in one go, Raju, if I eat a massive meal, because otherwise I'll just feel bloated and horrible. So I like I said, putting mine into different sort of piles. But yeah, like I said, I absolutely hate wasting food, so that's what I do with stuff like that that's really tasty, is I make sure I eat a sensible amount on the first day and then have enough that... Yeah, so whatever reason, the bar mace is popular at the moment. I'm not complaining, but again, when shorts do well, it's nowhere near as good as when a proper video does well. Because a short earns about 10p for every pound I'd earn on a normal video. So if that bar mace video was doing really, really well and it was a regular video, I'd have made so much more money off of it. It'd be much nicer. I could have earned, like, sometimes when a video goes viral like that for a month, you could get like a few £100 off of it if it was... Oh, £50 for a takeaway. Yes, sadly, Rajiv, that's sadly the cost it's coming to now. Even like McDonald's and that is really fucking expensive now for yeah, and Yeah, there's a Chinese near me that's absolutely extortionate in terms of money, like way worse than what I just paid for that Indian. And annoyingly, the Chinese that's cheaper, although I think they still do takeaways. I think now, annoyingly, you have to, like phone them up and talk to them and tell them what you want. They don't do any of the delivery apps anymore, which is a shame because when they used to do that, you could actually, just pick online and pick a time slot. But then you have to wait on hold for ages if they're busy, and then they have like one or two drivers and they're like, oh, that'd be an hour time. Doing a slightly racist voice, but they do actually talk like that at the local Chinese restaurant. I think they've got like a couple of kids that speak really, really good English because they like obviously grew up over here, but because the parents probably immigrated here, they have quite a thick, stereotypical accent. Yeah. Yeah, the places I order though from Stalker are where the actual takeaway itself does the delivery. So it's not like where you get one of those random drivers and they don't look like well, so you're coerced into a Mackie D's and it just made you feel awful. Yeah, for some reason I actually quite like Mackie D's and Burger King and all that. I love slop myself. No, but yeah, apparently that is a big problem, Stalker. But it seems to be more for if you've got an Uber or like a Just Eat person that's one of the random drivers that's then like subletting their account. But like I said, some of the places you can use through those apps have their own drivers, and then they're obviously all legit because they're just people that are hired by that restaurant to go out in a car every time there's an order. Like a lot of them, like I said, just do on the phone. But the problem is that, like I said, some of these places, if you try and phone up to do it over the order and not use a thing, you just get set on hold for ages, and then you can't. Like I said, sometimes I struggle with the accent of the person speaking. Like where I've done that before, and you get completely different stuff to what you ordered because the person you don't really understand each other. So yeah. Anyway, my food should be ready hopefully quite soon. So they are preparing my order, and the estimate is in 40 minutes to an hour's time. But normally when I order from this place, in about 15 minutes, they'll say it's ready, and then I'll get it in another 5 minutes. So I'm going to go set the table and everything and get a load of kitchen roll. But yeah, thanks for coming on, everybody. Like I said, at least my internet's been working all right today. Although once I've pigged out on my food, I might get quite an early night, just listen to some podcasts or whatever, and then get an early night before I'm at work tomorrow. Because where I work, we're so short-staffed at the moment that, when you're in, it's a pretty much an uphill struggle. Cheers. Like I said, I can't buy takeaways that regularly because they are very expensive now. But now and again, I just like I said, some high-calorie slop. Ukraine latest's a pretty good one. The Telegraph do, Oliver. But there's quite a lot. I'll have to do that on another stream when I've got more time to look through all the things I listen to. And then there's some podcasts where I don't listen to every episode, but now and again listen to them when I just feel like listening to it. Way too much money, because if you add them all together, it'll be a lot of money. But figure, because like I said, I've got enough food for 2 or 3 days. 2 different types of rice, 2 lamb kormas, 1 tikka masala, lamb masala, so lamb tikka masala, because I find chicken a bit bland. And this particular Indian restaurant does really good, like tender lamb. I've never had tough lamb from this place. And some onion bhajis as well, and just some like diced onion and whatever to mix in. Yeah, like I said, this place is really fucking good. Like I've never been ill from this place. It's always cooked well. Their prices, even though takeaways are really expensive, their prices are still fairly good, considering. So I always just tip the driver when they turn up. I don't tip them through an app because then I never know if the driver actually gets the proper tip. So I tip the drivers in person. But yeah, this place is good. But like I said, the annoying thing near me is one of the Chineses that you can order from reliably online is really expensive. The other ones you have to phone up to order from. And And then that's a bit annoying because, like I said, you sometimes are on hold, and sometimes their delivery drive will be like an hour or 2 hours from the time you order. Well, that's a good thing, Stalker, because like I said, the thing is, there's a lot of like slop restaurants you can order from, where it's you're playing Russian roulette if you're going to have like horrible diarrhea or vomiting the next day or whatever. Whereas I know in this particular Indian that their like food hygiene is really good. Which mask I bought? Again, I own loads and loads of masks. Like I was saying before I go off, most masks cost somewhere between £10 and £30. So the mask cost me a couple of hundred. So times 150 by 10 to 100, and then put the number somewhere in the middle. Yeah, again, lamb and beef I definitely enjoy the taste of a lot more than chicken. But anyway, have a good evening, everybody. I will probably not get a chance to do a stream tomorrow because I'm at work most of tomorrow. And didn't get any naan bread tonight. They do nice naan bread there, but I find naan bread I prefer if I eat in an actual restaurant where it's not been wrapped in foil and gone a bit soggy. So I've got onion bhajis tonight, and like rices. But yeah, sometimes I get poppadoms and naan, but other times, because they get a bit soggy when they've been transported, I prefer having them in person. Israeli gas masks take any 40mm NATO filter, so you can literally get anything that's RD40 17 or whatever the thing is, just Stanag NATO it's called. So just a combination gas filter, CBRN filter, you'll be fine. Anyway, bye everyone, have a good evening.